Born an actress, she became a star, she married into royalty, and she ended up the heartthrob of hundreds and millions. Today, she's my guest. Her name is Sharmila Tagore. Welcome to the program, Sharmila.
Thank you.
Now, there was a comment made about you at the very height of your fame that Sharmila can play almost any role she wants, but you never discover what she herself is like. Would you agree with that?
But I think that's how it should be. I mean, one should be an actress, and as a viewer, I should be able to convince them as an actress and as the role that I'm playing. But it's not necessary for them to really know me.
So the real Sharmila remains a mystery?
I don't know about being a mystery, but I think I am a private person, yes.
Okay, let's see how much you're going to tell us about yourself today. I gather that as a child you had virtually everything you wanted, except for the fact that initially your parents never sent you to school.
We were in Jamshedpur those days, and I was very young, and I don't think there were good schools there. And so a private tutor came, and I was being taught at home. But I really wanted to go to school because all my friends used to go to school. So I used to take my books, and with my ayah, I used to walk up and down that road and pretend. And if anybody asked me, where are you going? I'll say, I'm going to the school.
And how did you convince your parents to send you there eventually?
Well, this private tutor, and I had a procession of tutors because, again, the tutors were not very easy to come by. And one day this gentleman was teaching me English, and he said, S-U-G-A-R. What is it? So I said, sugar. He said, no, S-U-G-A-R, sugar. So I said, no, it's sugar. So this continued for a while till I think my mother heard and very diplomatically asked this gentleman to leave. And then they realized that perhaps I was ready for a proper school.
And did you enjoy it when you got there?
It meant leaving my parents because my father was, being transferred from one place to another, and it meant living with my grandparents in Calcutta. So it was a huge change, but of course I loved at last being in a school, having regular friends, and I like that, yes.
And did your grandparents spoil you?
I had my aunt, who a spinster aunt, who looked after me, and I don't know about spoiling, but they taught me a great deal, and it was wonderful because we lived in a joint family. It was my grandfather's family and also my grandfather's brother's family. So all of us lived in this huge house with lots of cousins, aunts, uncle, and it was wonderful. I mean, all those festivals, weddings, people having babies, it was great fun.
Now the amazing thing is you were barely 13 when you were chosen for the world of Apu by Satyajit Ray. You must have been still in school at the time.
Yes, I was 13 and I was going to diocesan, and I think he was looking for a very young person to be a child bride, a very, very young person. So he had his scouts, I think, in front of all the schools.
Actually scouts going from school to school?
Probably, otherwise I don't know how I was found because somebody must have followed me home. And then later Satyajit Ray contacted my parents, my father, and then asked me. Otherwise, how would they have found me?
And when you found out that you were about to become an actress, were you excited, nervous?
Not really. I was too young to feel nervous, but I was slightly precocious. I used to read a lot, and I had read this book. And of course, Satyajit Ray was a legend, and I had seen his Pathir Panchali and Aparajito already, and Jalsha Ghar, Porosh Pathor. So I was very, very excited to work with him, yes.
And when it all first began, what was it like? I mean, you were only 13, you'd never really acted professionally.
No. You mean the first day of the shooting? Munkudi, Manikda, Satyajit Ray, I will call him Manikda. Manikda's wife, Munkudi, she dressed me up. I was made to wear a sari and my hair was put up in a bun and bindi and everything. And this was, the scene was Apu brings his bride home, Apurna. And there is a closed door and the camera is behind the closed door. And Apu and I are waiting behind, the other side of the camera, so to speak. And then Manikda says, start sound, camera, action, and then he calls out to Soumitra and say, Esho, come in. So Soumitra opens the door, looks at me, and beckons me to enter. So I cross the threshold. I enter this new world, the married world of Aparna. Then I look around and he says, look up, look right, look down, cut, excellent, next shot. And my life changed after that. But I don't know whether he chose that scene purposely or not, because that reflected exactly what I felt. I didn't know what to expect on the other side of the threshold, if you know what I mean. Nor did Aparna, the character, because this was her first day of a married life. So I think both of us, the character that I played and I, were feeling the same thing at that time.
There was a great contrast between the two of you. In the movie, you're a small, delicate, fragile little child, and he was a tall, dominating personality with a deep voice. Did you get on very well with each other?
I think Manikda was always, I think there was a bit of child in him, you know. No, not at all. He just made you feel very comfortable. He just read out the scene once to you and explained what you had to do, and that's it. And then he allowed you to do what you wanted. If he didn't like something, only then he would come very close to you and just whisper in your ear very quietly that, Rinku, I would like you to do something.
So he was almost a psychologist.
He was just very gentle and very, I felt that I could trust him entirely. I mean, I just left it to him. You know, I did whatever he wanted me to do, and that's it. I didn't have to think.
You know, Shravan, the picture that's being built is you in your mid-teens, on the one hand acting in serious Bengali cinema, on the other hand in school doing everything that schoolgirls do. At what point did the ambition to become an actress take over?
I enjoyed the time in front of the camera. You know, from start sound to cut was the magic moment, and you could become something else. And it's just wonderful. You know, you're playing to the camera and you're becoming somebody else, and nothing exists. So I think there was as a child, I used to be sitting in front of the mirror and think about something and laugh and cry. And so I think there was that bit of exhibitionism or wanting to express myself, or there was something like that in me all the time. So I guess perhaps I wanted to be an actress, but not consciously maybe, but there was that part of me that liked it. So when this opportunity came along, I mean, I loved it.
And when Bollywood first beckoned, when you got the opportunity to go across and make Kashmir Ki Kali, how did that happen?
Sachin Bhaumik, the writer of, he was a very established screenplay writer. He was a friend of my mother's. And I think, I mean, after Apur Sansar, I became very popular. You know, everybody's heartthrob. Everybody wanted a wife like Aparna. So Shakti Samanta was looking for again a new girl, because Shammi Kapoor was working with new girls and making them instant star, like Saira Banu, Asha Parekh. So he was planning another film with Shammi Kapoor, and he wanted a new person. So I think Sachin Bhaumik mentioned my name, and that's how it happened.
And when you went to Bombay for the first time, you must have been still in your teens. What was it like being on the sets of Kashmir Ki Kali? Because this was a much bigger commercial production. This was the real thing.
Yes. I wouldn't say it was the real thing. It was the unreal thing, if you know what I mean. And it was very difficult, because there was a lot of singing and dancing involved.
You weren't used to that?
Not at all. And the language, the Hindi language was also...
So at that stage, even though today you speak it fluently, you were unused to Hindi?
Yes.
You had to actually learn it for Bollywood?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I had this Bengali accent. I mean, I couldn't even say Baba without, you know, khichoing it a little bit, you know. So I had a little problem.
But did you enjoy the dancing? You took to it like a duck takes to water.
I was so stiff and so tense, I couldn't even move. But towards the end of the film, I think I became better.
There's a wonderful story that Shashi Kapoor suddenly one day materialized on the sets of Kashmir Ki Kali. Tell me, what happened?
I had seen Prem Patra, and I was absolutely besotted. I thought he was so good looking and he was so wonderful. I was a great admirer of his. And one day we were shooting for Kashmir Ki Kali, in fact a dance thing which was very difficult for me anyway. And suddenly I looked up and there was Shashi Kapoor, and I just completely froze. I mean, I couldn't do anything. And then Shakti told Shashi that please leave, you know, please allow my heroine to work. And then later he said he was also an admirer of mine. I mean, he liked me in Apur Sangsar.
In future, when he saw you, he used to do the freezing incident.
No.
Sharma, let's take a break. I want in part 2 to talk about the career that was beginning hereafter and the movies and the films that you've gone on to make. We'll be back in just a couple of moments. Stay with us. Welcome back. My guest is Sharmila Tagore. Sharmila, your friends remember 3 different stages in your career. The Satyajit Ray actress, the star of films like An Evening in Paris and Kashmir Ki Kali, and then the sensitive performances in films like Aradhana and Mausam. Which was the most fun for you?
All 3, but right at the beginning I was very young to really enjoy it. Like I said, Satyajit Ray was such a huge influence. He molded me into what he wanted me to. So films like Apur Sangsar, Devi was more his contribution, partly mine I'm sure, but also his. And then the second stage was the evolving stage where I was learning the tricks of the trade and trying to get to understand what Bollywood was all about and what I was all about, and trying to, I think the last stage was the most fun for me, where I felt that I had evolved as an actress and I had something to offer, and I was contributing.
So when you look back on your career, it's the last stage that you feel happiest with?
Yes, but on the other hand, the other day when I saw Devi, I thought that was the best film of my life. And as a child, I hadn't understood what it was all about, but now I can see how complex that role was and how wonderfully I'd done it, and I think it's so beautiful.
You know, the amazing thing about Satyajit Ray was that he found great depths in you at a remarkably young age. Thereafter, how dependent were you on a good director knowing how to bring out your own talent?
Well, it's not a question of dependency, it is a director's media. The filmmaking is a director's media. You cannot really rise above the script or the director, because there's so much happening, the post-production like editing or the background music, and your good performances can be completely ruined by all that. So the director is the one who's actually making the film. So
does that make an actress insecure? Because no matter how well you do, you know that at the end of the day, how it appears on screen really depends on what the director does with it.
That's right, that's right. So when you have a like-minded director, when you can vibe with the director, like directors like Ashit Sen, Bashu Bhattacharya, Gulzar,
Shakti
Samanta, and maybe I'm forgetting a few names, I'm sure. But you know, with them I've worked the best. Rishikesh Mukherjee.
In fact, it was Shakti Samanta in a sense who launched you in Bollywood. Those 2 movies that you first did, Evening in Paris and Kashmir Ki Kali, made you a real instant heartthrob. In one of them, in fact, I think you even had to wear a swimsuit. Was that a difficult decision in the 60s?
It created such an uproar, because not so much the movie, because it was a water skiing scene and I couldn't really wear a sari and do it. And that was all right. But the film fair carried a cover picture of me in a bikini. And that created quite a controversy. And when I saw, and all I thought that I was looking rather nice, you know, I seriously didn't think that it'll have that kind of an effect. But when I saw the effect, then I realized that that what it was all about really, and how I had to change my image.
You had to become more conventional.
Well, I just couldn't be just a glamour girl. I mean, that really wasn't me. I wanted to do more, and that's why I took films like Aradhana, Mausam.
In fact, the image changed dramatically with Aradhana. You won your Best Actress award for it. And yet I'm told by Shakti Samant that you were very reluctant to let him color your hair white for the part when you were Rajesh Khanna's mother.
I don't think it was the color white, but he wanted me to wear this wig, which was so irritating, you know, with that. But I think it was necessary. Otherwise, since we were like playing a playing lovers also. It wouldn't have been, without the wig, it wouldn't have worked.
In fact, the movie was a runaway success, and yet when he saw it at the premiere, I believe he was a little concerned it might not succeed.
We were watching this film together, and the first half everybody enjoyed themselves, and then when the first shot of this old lady, I as the old lady, is seen on the screen, everybody started laughing. The whole auditorium burst out laughing. And Shakti sort of, he used to smoke like that, and he immediately left the theatre holding his head that it's a flop. But end of that scene, just a minute and a bit, everybody was, and you could see, that everybody was crying. And so somebody ran out and said, Shakti ji, it's fine, it's worked, it's all right, come back.
His greatest success, and he didn't realize it.
Yes, and it was a very big success, even in south of India where people claimed they couldn't speak Hindi.
In fact, there was also that amazingly powerful role you did in Mosam. You got the National Award for that, where you played a prostitute.
Yes.
Was that a big challenge?
I think all roles are
But this
a
in
bit
particular?
of a challenge, yes. Yes, I was very keyed up because I wanted to do very well, because I loved that role. And I tried my best. Yes, to me it was a challenge, yes.
Let's talk a little about you personally. You got married to the young, dashing, romantic captain of the Indian cricket team, the Nawab Patori. Where did the two of you meet?
I think in one of the cricket dinners or something in Calcutta. In Calcutta we met. I was quite cricket mad. So
And a fan of his as well?
No, I was a Jaisima fan. No, not at that stage, no.
Was it love at first sight for you? Did he sweep you off your feet?
He came to Bombay where I was working, and he left a very peculiar message on the phone that somebody had sent me 5 fridges. So I was, very confused and very curious. So I rang him back. So of course, he had this very silly sense of humor, I mean, always really very peculiar. Why would anybody leave a message like that? So anyway, I called him, and he came, and we went out for dinner, and one thing led to another.
It was a whirlwind romance, wasn't it? In fact, it was very much the talk of the town, because both of you were celebrities in your own right. But was it easy to adjust into an aristocratic, royal, traditional, conservative family?
Well, we bunked for a while. There was just the two of us. We got married, and we stayed in Bombay. We had 3 children. And then we went to Delhi to live with my mother-in-law. By that time, we had adjusted, and it wasn't that difficult. But yes, it was, I wouldn't say, it was difficult. It
Took
was
a bit of accommodation.
Yes, because it was so different, and one had to learn quite a lot. But
there's a wonderful story that when your mother-in-law first came to visit you, you had to take down all the film posters in the neighborhood.
there was this evening in Paris poster on Pedder Road. I don't think Shakti knows about it till this day. But when Amma was coming from the airport, and this poster was slightly, slightly iffy. So I sent my driver and the bearer. I said, please, jaldi jaake wo poster nikal do.
You were determined to be the perfect daughter-in-law.
Yeah. That was just one poster. I'm sure she must have seen the others.
Now, the interesting thing is, recently, after perhaps a gap of a decade and a half, you've come back and you're once again acting. How much has the industry changed in the intervening period?
I'm not really once again acting. I acted in that, I did a guest appearance in Man and in Dhadkan. Dhadkan I loved. I loved working with Dharmesh Darshan because, he is an actor's director. He allows you to, although I've just done one scene, but I thought I did it very well. I'm very happy with it. Yes. Now I can say what I want to say. In Man also it was very good. But I found the sound level so high because everybody talks so loudly because the entire soundtrack is dubbed. So people know that this is going to be dubbed, but they don't realize that we as actors need to concentrate, So everybody talks very loud. And there's a lot of mobile phones these days. Everybody has a mobile. and everybody's mobile rings, and they're talking in front of you, within your, vision.
Which is very
So it's very
distracting.
disconcerting, yes. I don't think it happens in every set. Of course, Amir doesn't do it. I mean, Amir is a very professional. It was a pleasure to work with him. But some other actors do.
The interesting thing is that your son has followed in your traditions and is a rising up and coming star. You must be very proud of him.
I am.
And yet you didn't want him to become an actor.
Well, it didn't occur to us because those days, when I was an actress, it was not quite the done thing, and nobody talked about it. But when my son, like my mother-in-law, never saw my films. But when my son started acting, Saif Mia ka film hai, Saif Mia ka wo ho raha hai, everybody was so,
Grandsons are treated better than daughters-in-law.
Yeah, but we wanted him to be like his father, I guess, like any family. So he went to a prep school in England, he went to Winchester, and then he came back and he joined films.
And you also have two daughters, one of whom I believe is a jewelry designer.
Sabah, yes, in
Is
fact.
that her creation around your neck?
In fact, it is. Today is her preview, so I'm wearing this. And she's very good. I'm really very impressed with her work.
You are today, Sharmila, the Begum of Bhopal and Pataudi. You're also Sharmila Tagore, the actress. You're a wife, you're a mother, you're a grandmother. Which of these is the real Sharmila?
It's obviously all those things. I guess I am. I'm Sharmila Tagore, I'm the actress, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, housekeeper, everything. Because I wanted to do everything, Karan. I just couldn't just be a career person or just a housewife. I wanted both. I wanted to have my cake and eat it too. So I guess I'm that. And the other day I was printing my card, and I really had an identity crisis because in school I was Mrs. Khan. So I wanted to know who I am really. And then I said, it's Sharmila Tagore, and within brackets, Begum of Pataudi. And I think I should be happy with that. But now I want to direct.
And that's the next aim. Sharmila,
Do you
the
think I'm
director.
mad?
Not at all.
But I really would love to. I mean, that is something that I'm really very gung-ho about. And before I'm too old, I'd love to direct.
Well, that's something that millions of your fans will be looking forward to. Sharmila, thank you and good luck with the movie when it happens. Thank you very much.
Thank you.